Okay, so you handed us this huge stack of material, calling it, what was it, a manifesto of Quartermain catastrophe.
Something like that, yeah.
And you are not kidding. I mean, we've waded through details for the first couple of weeks of October here, and honestly, it's like watching a family civil war just explode in Port Charles.
It really is an unprecedented level of intensity, isn't it? What we're doing today is really focusing just on the story itself, the narrative details for October 2nd through the 10th.
Right.
And we're looking at basically three big crises that are all tangled up together. You've got the Drew Kane shooting investigation.
Which is getting violent and messy.
Exactly. Then there's the huge fallout from Monica Quartermain's will reading, just seismic shifts there.
Okay.
And layered on top of that, several really personal, like life-changing bombshells hitting characters like Portia and Britt.
So our mission here, for you listening, is to give you the fast track, the quick understanding. We want you to know exactly who's in danger right now, who's making a big power move, and which family secrets, maybe long buried, are about to just blow up in everyone's faces. We're going to connect the dots for you between this attempted murder and, surprisingly, the reading of a will, which really seems to be the thing that pushes one major character completely over the edge. Yeah, that connection is key. Just a quick heads up before we dive in. The sources do mention potential baseball preemptions early in the week, Tuesday, Wednesday, maybe Thursday.
MLB playoffs.
Yeah.
Right, could happen.
So if that happens, obviously the TV schedule shifts around a bit. But for our purposes today, we're just focusing on the story beats that are supposed to happen on those days. Gotcha. The core story moves forward regardless of broadcast delays.
Exactly. That's what we're dissecting, the story itself.
All right. Let's jump right into the crosshairs then.
Okay.
Let's unpack this right away. We kick off with the immediate aftermath, Drew Kane shot, attempted murder. Now, motive is always, the big driver in Port Charles. But this investigation seems to be zeroing in, like laser focused on the weapon itself. And this isn't just any gun. It's basically a Quartermain family heirloom, right?
It is. And that's what's so fascinating, the sheer audacity of using something so tied to the family's history. The investigation immediately locks onto Edward Quartermain's gun.
Wow.
The sources flag this as the central detail. It's not some random street weapon, It's a piece of family history, apparently sourced right from the Quartermain mansion. And that changes everything.
That detail feels critical. If the weapon comes from inside the Q house, well, that narrows the field considerably, doesn't it? It rules out a lot of the usual external suspects.
It does. It points inwards immediately. Who has access to that house, maybe even the vault where it was kept.
Yeah.
And that makes it feel less like, typical mob stuff and more like a domestic attack. And who has really deep, really complicated, often kind of messy access to that property. Carly Corinthos Spencer. Even with the name changes, her ties to that family, they run generations deep. So she becomes a person of interest almost instantly. Using a family gun, it doesn't just raise the stakes. It makes it like an existential threat to the Quartermain legacy itself.
And the person heading this whole thing up is Police Commissioner Anna Devane. Not someone known for backing down.
Nope, she's got that laser focus. And the sources say Carly gets grilled right away. Where was she when Drew was shot?
Okay.
And Carly's reaction, pure Carly. Total defiance. She gives this defensive clapback, basically telling Anna, and this sounds so typical, do your job and stop trying to pin this on the obvious suspect.
But, okay, if she feels innocent, why jump straight to being defensive like that? And why is Anna apparently so suspicious of her alibi? What's the issue there?
Well, Anna's got good reason to be suspicious. The sources really highlight this. Carly's alibi comes from Jack Brennan.
Jack Brennan. Okay, wait. The international man of mystery, questionable ties. That Brennan,
exactly. So his involvement immediately makes you question how solid that alibi really is. Is it real? Is it a conspiracy? Is he just covering for her?
Yeah.
For Anna, that's a huge red flag. It suggests Carly might be hiding something. Or, someone.
But the thing that could really push Carly from just person of interest to, like, prime suspect territory, it's the threat, right? The threat she made against Drew.
That Elizabeth Weber supposedly overheard.
That's huge.
It's the crucial link connecting that past anger to the present danger. If Anna can actually confirm that Liz overheard Carly make a direct threat on Drew's life, well, suddenly Carly has means access to the Q gun opportunity, that dodgy alibi and motive of the documented threat. The police don't necessarily need to prove she pulled the trigger herself. They just need to show she was involved, maybe orchestrated it, or just had that level of rage.
So the heat is definitely on Carly. But, okay, there's another Quartermain adjacent figure caught up in this too, right? Michael Corinthos.
Yeah, and this is where it gets interesting. It's driven by Tracy Quartermain's just intense, like almost pathological hatred for Drew Kane.
Okay.
Tracy apparently knows for a fact that Michael was outside Drew's place right around the time of the shooting. That's massive circumstantial evidence.
Wow. And Michael, I mean, he's no stranger to legal problems himself.
Yeah.
But he apparently pushes back. He basically dares Tracy.
Yeah, he calls her bluff, tells her straight up, if you're so sure, go tell the cops.
Which raises the obvious question. Why doesn't Tracy go to the cops? If she hates Drew so much, wouldn't letting Michael take the heat be like a win-win for her, get rid of two problems at once?
You'd think so. It looks like a 2-for-1 special.
Exactly.
But her motivation seems, well, more complicated. It's twisted. She hates Drew, sees him as this, like, interloper messing things up.
Right.
But she also has this weird, warped sense of loyalty to the established Q bloodline. And Michael, you know, Sonny's son, but raised in the mansion, he represents that, sort of. So the sources are pretty clear. Tracy actually promises to cover for Michael. She makes herself an accessory after the fact.
Whoa, why?
Purely for the satisfaction of getting leverage over Michael and also to keep sticking it to Drew. It's about revenge on Drew. She'd rather control the situation, manipulate it, than just let the police sort it out cleanly.
Okay, so Tracy's putting herself at serious legal risk just out of spite and revenge. That's intense. Meanwhile, Sonny Corinthos, he's kind of circling the edges of this family mess, trying to piece things together.
Yeah, Sonny's operating in the background, connecting the dots, and his focus seems to land on Veronica Bard. You know, Ronnie.
Right, Ronnie.
Monica's companion.
Exactly. Sonny meets with her, which tells us he sees her as a key player in all this, probably because of her connection to Monica and likely the upcoming Will.
Okay, and what's the gist of that meeting? What comes out of it?
Ronnie basically tells Sonny she's not going to be pushed around by Tracy. She won't be intimidated or scared off.
So Tracy's already tried to muscle her out, probably over the Will. Seems likely, doesn't it? Ronnie, standing from, shows she's planting her feet right in the middle of this Quartermain drama. She's not backing down.
And Sonny's watching all this very closely.
Oh, yeah. Not just because of the Will, but because his own son, Michael, is now tangled up in this potential attempted murder frame-up. He's got skin in the game.
Okay, so the shooting investigation is already pulling us deep into the family's, like, vault of secrets. And that drama spills right over into the next big event. The reading of Monica's will. This is where, as you said, it gets really interesting.
It really does. The sources say this high-stakes family gathering kicks off Thursday, but the full impact, the real explosion, hits on Friday, October 3rd.
It's like perfect dramatic staging.
Absolutely. It's a masterclass in creating conflict. You've got Alexis Davis, the lawyer, reading the will at the estate. And the room itself, it's designed for maximum tension. It's packed with people who not only have a stake in what's in the will, but also have these incredibly complicated, often really painful histories with Monica herself.
Let's just run down that list of who's there again, because it's telling. You've got Ronnie, obviously. Tracy. Michael. Brooklyn Quartermain, BLQ. Jason Morgan. Olivia Falconeri. Ned Quartermain. That seems to cover the main family branches, right?
It does, but then there's the one attendee who immediately makes you go, wait, what?
Sonny.
Sonny Corinthos, he's the ultimate wild card here. Why is Sonny sitting there alongside the, the core Quartermain family?
My first thought is Alexis must have told him to be there.
Yeah.
Which would imply, what? He's actually in the will?
Oh.
Or maybe it affects one of his kids directly?
That's precisely the speculation. That Alexis invited him because he's named, maybe as a beneficiary, maybe a trustee for Michael or something. Given Sonny's history with the Qs, I mean, he's tried to kill them, save them, marry into the family, father children with them.
Yeah, it's complicated.
Any kind of inheritance or formal role for him would be absolutely explosive. It would be symbolic of just how intertwined he's become with them over the decades.
And naturally, where there's big money, there are lawyers gearing up for a fight. Tracy's already preparing.
Oh, yeah. We're looking at a high-powered legal battle brewing before the ink is even dry on the will, practically. The rumor mill suggests Martin Gray, eccentric but effective.
Right, Martin.
He's expected to represent Ronnie. And on the other side, Tracy's already hired Marco Rios to rep the Quartermains, the collective family interests.
So Tracy's anticipating a major fight over whatever Monica decided. She's not expecting this to go smoothly.
Not at all. She's lawyered up and ready for war.
And then the reading itself, the drama kicks in fast. Sources describe Tracy's jaw literally dropping. That's like the classic visual shorthand for shock, right? Huge surprise, or maybe a massive disappointment for her.
Total shock. And then you have Ronnie, who seems much calmer, almost ready for this. She just remarks, kind of coolly, this should be interesting.
Ooh, she's poised. She knows something's coming.
Yeah, she seems ready to capitalize on whatever chaos Monica unleashed from beyond the grave.
But the real emotional core of this scene, the big meltdown, it belongs to Drew, right? He's described as being in an absolute rage during the reading. What's driving that? What's the likely trigger?
The strongest theory, the one that really seems to fuel everything he does next, is that he was specifically, purposefully left out of his mother's will.
Ouch. After he specifically said he wouldn't. No.
Exactly. He apparently vowed he wouldn't be excluded, maybe hoping this was his chance to finally solidify his place in the family. So the will writing becomes this huge turning point. It flips a switch in him. He goes from being this estranged son looking for acceptance to becoming a calculating villain bent on destruction.
Okay, being left out, that explains the fury, especially after the humiliation of Tracy, like physically rolling him out of the funeral earlier. That's brutal. But is there any chance this is part of some weird scheme by Drew, like he wanted this outcome?
It's possible, maybe to gain sympathy or something.
Yeah.
But the sheer intensity of the rage described, it sounds genuine, like deep personal injury. And regardless of why, the sources seem clear on who does benefit. The people Drew sees as his biggest rivals, Jason Morgan and Michael Corinthus. They're expected to inherit a good bit from Monica.
So Drew gets shot, then his mother seemingly rejects him in her final act, favoring his brother and his nephew instead.
Yeah.
That combination, the betrayal, the rejection, the physical violence he just survived, that's the perfect storm to fuel this total descent into villainy we see playing out next week.
Yeah.
It's a really spectacular fall.
Okay, let's pivot for a moment. While the cues are tearing themselves apart, there are these two other major storylines running alongside, packed with personal danger and some really deep secrets bubbling up. Let's start with Britt Westbourne. Her behavior is apparently off, like really off.
Completely uncharacteristic, yeah.
The sources say she's absolutely thrown for a loop, and specifically her reaction to finding out her brother, Nathan West, is actually alive. It just seems very off.
Which immediately makes you wonder.
Right. Did Britt know Nathan was alive this whole time? Was she maybe involved in hiding him somehow? Perhaps, protecting him from their father, Faison.
Whoa! If she knew, that's huge. That means she's been carrying this massive secret for years, lying to everyone, maybe even her own mother, Lizal.
It would be an enormous deception, yeah, a huge burden of guilt.
Hey.
And the way she's handling it now is also strange. She apparently talks to Damien Spinelli.
Spinelli, okay.
And asks him if Maxie would be okay with their son, James, meeting his namesake, Nathan. But the sources hint she might actually be against the reunion, or at least really hesitant.
Why would she be against it? Unless
she knows Nathan is still in danger. Maybe from Faison's lingering network or connected to this mystery boss she seems to be involved with. She might think keeping Maxie and James away is the only way to keep them safe.
She's definitely feeling the squeeze. Her best friend Elizabeth is apparently looking for her, and she has a serious bone to pick.
Yeah, that confrontation sounds like it's going to be intense because Liz could be coming at her about so many things. Britt's weird behavior, her job back at the GHER, maybe something specific about Nathan or Jason, or even Britt's whole fake death thing.
Right.
Britt's getting pressure from all sides, left and right, as the source puts it. Her carefully built walls seem to be crumbling.
And it's not just personal pressure, it might be professional too. Or, well, maybe underworld professional. The mystery boss might contact her again.
That's what the sources suggest, which implies she is caught up in some kind of secret operation, or maybe something she inherited from Faison, or maybe working against his legacy. And Nathan showing up alive throws a massive wrench into whatever that operation is.
Okay, so Britt's world is imploding.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Alexis Davis is facing, immediate physical life or death danger.
Yes, and Ava Jerome arrives with, quote, perfect timing.
Thank goodness for Ava. What happened?
It sounds terrifying. Ava walks in on Rick Lansing, who's clearly not okay, acting under extreme duress or maybe just pure malice, holding a knife to Alexis's throat.
Oh my God, Rick.
Seriously. Ava's arrival interrupts it, prevents something potentially fatal right then and there. She's heroic in that moment.
But the psychological impact on Alexis.
Oh.
Wow. The sources say this is expected to trigger flashbacks to Julian.
Exactly. A flashback to when Julian Jerome did the exact same horrifying thing to her years ago.
Oh, I remember that. That was devastating.
It was a deliberate, traumatic echo. For anyone who remembers that storyline, Julian holding that knife to her throat was one of the lowest, most painful points in Alexis's history. It shattered their relationship completely.
Yeah.
So Rick doing this now, it's not just physical danger. It taps right into that deep-seated trauma, that memory of betrayal and terror. It connects Rick's actions directly to Alexis's long, dangerous history with the Jerome family.
And the fact that it's Ava, another Jerome, who steps in to save her this time.
It's incredibly powerful, isn't it?
Yeah.
Ava interrupting this cycle of violence that men often linked to her own family have inflicted on Alexis. It's a really significant moment. Okay, so we've set the stage. Utter chaos. The shooting, the will, Britt's secrets, Alexis's trauma. Now let's move forward into the next week, October 6th through 10th. How does all this escalate? Because it sounds like it's about to go nuclear.
It really does. The investigation into Drew's shooting ramps up immediately. The fact that Edward's gun was used leads to swift action. Chase and Anna serve a search warrant.
Where? The Q mansion. Has to be, right?
Highly likely, yeah. Given the gun came from there, that's the logical epicenter. The PCPD is definitely making progress, trying to gather forensic evidence. Finding that gun is key.
There's a catch. The sources seem skeptical that they'll actually catch the right person.
Yeah, there's a strong suggestion that while the police are closing in on an arrest, they have serious doubts it'll be the actual shooter.
Okay, so who's potentially taking the fall?
This is where it looks really bad for Michael Corinthos. He seems perfectly positioned to be the fall guy.
Why him specifically?
Think about the evidence, even if it's circumstantial. He was outside Drew's place, we know that. The weapon is Edward's gun, from the Q house, which Michael has access to.
Right.
The whole case could hinge on finding that gun and seeing whose fingerprints are on it. And if Drew is actively trying to frame him, this plays right into Drew's hands.
That rage Drew felt after the will reading. It's translating into action. His top priority now is framing Michael, while the police are closing in.
Seems like it. But before that fully plays out, Carly has her own fires to put out. She's been grilled by Anna.
Because of the dodgy Brennan alibi.
Exactly. So now she needs to figure out who snitched, who told Anna about the threat she made against Drew, and her suspicion lands squarely on Elizabeth Weber.
Liz again. Okay, so Carly confronts her.
Looks like it. She suspects Liz is the one who told the police, which led directly to Anna questioning her and Brennan's story.
And Carly and Liz, they have history, like major history.
Oh yeah, decades of bad blood. This isn't just a minor disagreement. Their past is incredibly contentious, really rocky, mostly centered around their battles over Jason Morgan.
Right, huge betrayals there.
Massive betrayals on both sides. The sources note this confrontation is the perfect spark to just reignite that whole historic rivalry. It injects all this deep, personal bitterness right into the middle of a murder investigation.
Okay. Meanwhile, Alexis, even after her own near-death experience with Rick, she's still trying to help. She issues a warning to Sonny.
Yeah, even reeling from that trauma, she seems to have the clarity to warn Sonny, given her legal role with the will and just, her moral compass.
What's the warning likely about?
The sources strongly point towards it being about the Drew shooting, and specifically Michael's very shaky alibi. She knows Michael's exposed.
Which puts Sonny in a terrible spot. He has to protect his son, but the person potentially framing him is his own nephew, Drew.
Exactly. An impossible position.
Right, let's get to it. The most shocking thing happening this week. The moment Drew apparently crosses the line, we know he's furious after the will, wants to destroy Michael, wants to destroy Tracy.
He is, quote, out for blood. The sources are really clear. This isn't just anger anymore. This is a full character demolition. Drew is determined to, quote, hit an all-time low and do the nastiest thing we've seen yet.
Nastier than trying to frame his nephew for attempted murder.
Yeah.
What could be nastier?
It's about how he goes about destroying Michael's life. This isn't just about prison. It's about total annihilation. The peak of this villain arc comes when Chase delivers some absolutely shocking news to Willow Tate.
Okay. What's the specific revelation? What's the nastiest thing?
Chase tells Willow that there's evidence Drew bribed the judge in the custody case, the case against Nina, to ensure Michael got custody of the kids.
Wait, what? Drew bribed the judge. So Michael's victory in that custody battle? It wasn't legitimate.
That's the implication. It suggests Drew corrupted the entire legal process just to achieve his own desired family outcome with Willow and the kids. It completely undermines Michael's win and paints Drew as someone willing to manipulate the justice system itself.
So, hang on. Drew is actively trying to frame Michael for shooting him. And at the same time, he's revealing this bombshell that destroys Michael's relationship with Willow by proving he corrupted the system that was supposed to protect their children.
That's the nuclear option right there. It's devastating. Even if Michael somehow dodges prison for the shooting, Drew ensures the very foundation of his life with Willow is utterly demolished.
How does Willow react?
Absolute despair, according to the sources. And they predict she'll probably believe it because, as they know, that does sound like a Drew thing to do.
Wow.
Remember, his whole focus, it was always about having that perfect little unit. Willow, him, Scout. This reveal suggests he'd stop at nothing, not even corrupting the courts, to get that.
Okay. So while the Quartermains are basically eating each other alive, Portia Robinson is dealing with something completely separate but equally life-altering.
Totally separate track, yeah. A huge personal development for her. First, Isaiah Gannon seeks her out. This follows them agreeing to maybe, give this thing a try, explore seeing each other again.
Right. They have that conversation.
So Isaiah comes back, reaffirms his interest, says he wants to keep seeing her, which sets up this potential love triangle.
Just in time for
the big news. Portia takes a pregnancy test, and she gets, quote, life-changing news.
It's positive, isn't it? That's the strong speculation.
Highly consistent speculation, yes. Positive result, which immediately kicks off the next big Port Charles mystery.
The classic who's the daddy storyline.
Bingo. High stakes. Because you have to look at the timing. She's in this committed, very complicated relationship with Curtis Ashford. Right. But she's also clearly been reconnecting emotionally and maybe physically with Isaiah. So the big question becomes, who is the father? When did conception happen?
What does this mean for Portia immediately? What does she have to do?
Well, she's got this huge secret now. She says to figure out her next steps, fast, confirm the paternity privately somehow, plan for the pregnancy, and then make that massive decision, does she tell the father? Especially if the father isn't Curtis.
Oh, man. That secret alone could just shatter her entire current life. Her marriage to Curtis, her dynamic with Taggart. Everything.
Absolutely. It redefines everything. And the irony is, while she's grappling with this enormous personal crisis, Curtis, still her partner for now, comes to her with a theory about the shooting.
Oh, the tragic irony.
Exactly. He's still focused on the criminal investigation, sharing ideas about who shot Drew, what the shooter's motives might be, totally oblivious that Portia's holding this secret that's about to dwarf everything else for him.
Okay, just a couple more things happening this week to round out the picture. Gio Palmieri, BOQ, and Dante's son. He's making a move.
Yeah, a potentially positive one. Sounds like he might be moving back into the Quartermain mansion.
Oh, why?
The idea seems to be it would give his parents, BLQ and Dante, more consistent access to him, maybe a small bit of domestic stability amidst all the Q chaos.
Okay. And Brennan, Jack Brennan, he meets with Jocelyn Jacks. This sounds tied back to the shady stuff.
Definitely seems connected to the underworld operations. The meeting could be about a couple of things. Maybe discussing Britt Westbourne's sudden departure, if that's linked to Brennan somehow. Or more likely, it's Brennan laying down the law again, reiterating his order that Joss must stay away from Vaughn.
Ah, because they might be sneaking around.
That's the worry. Are Joss and Vaughn trying to defy Brennan behind his back? If so, they're putting themselves in serious danger. Brennan is not someone you cross.
And finally, back to Brett. She's forced to take some kind of action. Get tough.
Yeah, her off behavior, the pressure, it's leading somewhere. The sources say she's compelled to get tough with somebody.
Lulu.
Carly. Given the context, Nathan seems like the most likely target for that confrontation, especially with the implication she might have known he was alive, maybe was involved in hiding him.
Right.
She needs answers from him. Is he bringing Faison's dangerous legacy back into their lives? Does she need to push people away to protect them? It feels like a major confrontation is brewing there.
Hashtag tag outro, hitro.
Okay. Wow. So let's try and wrap this up. When you piece together these 2 weeks, this incredibly packed high-speed drama, what's the big picture? What does it all mean?
I mean, what we're watching is this incredibly high-stakes moral chess game, right?
Yeah.
Drew Kane's desire for revenge, sparked by being shot, then totally rejected in the will, it's completely transformed him. He's become this, morally bankrupt villain.
Yeah.
He's actively using the justice system to frame family while simultaneously blowing up the very family unit he claimed he wanted to protect with Willow. It's dark.
And the Quartermains themselves. They're just cannibalizing each other. Over Edward's old gun, over Monica's final wishes, and layered underneath, you've got these foundational relationships, Portia and Curtis, Willow and Michael, even Carly's dynamics. about to be completely shattered by paternity secrets, by past grudges resurfacing.
It feels like the real source of the chaos isn't just one person, one event, like the shooting.
Yeah.
It's all these interconnected secrets stretching back generations.
Exactly. You see the family legacy itself being twisted. Edward's gun used for attempted murder, Julie and Jerome's past threat against Alexis being mirrored almost perfectly by Rick Lansing now. It's like this cycle of violence and betrayal just keeps coming back around in Port Charles.
Which brings us maybe to that final provocative thought. Thinking about Drew specifically, his spectacular fall, his determination to hit this all-time low, framing Michael, exposing the bribery to Willow. These aren't just impulsive acts, they're calculated systemic betrayals.
Right.
So the question becomes, is there a moral line in this world in Port Charles that once you cross it, there's no coming back? Is Drew crossing that line?
And maybe more specifically for Drew, if he succeeds. If he frames Michael, if he destroys Michael's relationship with Willow, the person he supposedly valued above everything, what part of himself does he lose forever in doing that?
Yeah. What's left of the man he thought he was or wanted to be? And how does anyone live with causing that level of destruction? That's really the question looming over the whole Quartermain family as this investigation and all this fallout continues to unfold.